everyone, I'm Asna and welcome to our cabbage osmosis demonstration. This is a disclaimer that the person performing these experiments is a trained scientist who has all the required personal protective equipment necessary. Please be careful if attempting at home. For this experiment, you'll need cabbage leaves, water, food coloring, a few clear cups, some gummy bears, sugar, and salt. Water is the most important solvent in the world, and its different properties allow living things to grow and survive on Earth. Without water, no animal or plant can live. A lot of plants like leaves need plenty of water to survive, but ever wonder how a plant drinks water? They can't drink it from a glass like us. Instead, they have to rely on osmosis. Osmosis is the movement of water through a semi-permeable membrane. This means that water can get through, but larger particles like sugar or salt can't get through. Osmosis allows water to move from a low salt concentration to a high salt concentration, and moves from a place of high water potential to low water potential. This makes it so that the concentration of salt and water is about the same on both sides of the membrane. Plants use osmosis to drink water through their roots and stems. To demonstrate this, we will put a leaf of cabbage, you can also use celery if you don't have cabbage, into a glass of water, just like this. Next, you can put a drop of whatever food coloring you want into the water. Make sure it's mixed really well and leave it overnight to see what happens to the cabbage leaf.
The next day.
After a day of resting in colored water, what happened to your cabbage leaf? Here, we can see that the cabbage leaves took up the color and the water that it was resting in. This big stem that you see running down the middle is called the xylem, and it's actually the main mode of carrying water up the leaf, and you can see that it went all throughout the plant and carried water from the bottom all the way up. And it spread water to deliver to every single part as it needs it to survive. So how exactly did it do this? Well, there was a higher water concentration at the outside in the jar than there was inside of the leaf. So slowly, overnight, there was a movement of the water in through the semi-permeable membrane at the bottom of the xylem, and it passed in through the leaf and up throughout the rest of the plant. So plants have special transporters that allow water to pass from cell to cell. So this is how the color was able to get all the way throughout, even to the tips of the leaves. So this is how plants drink water. You can see here that even the green took up lots of the different types, color of water. Without osmosis, this plant would have died right away because there would have been no way for it to get the water up through the xylem. Now, let's look at another way that we can demonstrate osmosis. Another way we can see osmosis at work is by taking gummy bears and placing them in water with different salt or sugar concentrations. In this case, the salt or sugar are called solutes, and the water inside of the cup is called a solvent. So fill 3 cups of water about halfway with water. Then take a gummy bear and place one inside of each cup. Next, take sugar or salt. In this case, I'll take 5 cubes of sugar and place them into the cup. Make sure you mix it all the way so that all of the sugar is dissolved. In your other cup, take a full spoon of salt and pour it into the cup. do the same thing and mix really well so that all of the salt is dissolved. The outside of the gummy bear is a semi-permeable membrane, and inside of the gummy bear is full of sugar. So based off of what you learned about osmosis from the cabbage, feel free to pause the video and hypothesize what might happen. Leave these cups overnight and let's see what happens to the gummy bears the next day.
The next day.
So let's see what happened to our little gummy bears overnight. So first, the one that was submerged in water without any added salt or sugar solutes seemed to have expanded the most from the original. And from what we know about osmosis, water moves from a low solute concentration to a high solute concentration. Since the water around had a low sugar content, it moved through the semi-permeable membrane in the gummy bear inside and filled it up with water. This caused the gummy bear to expand. In science, we call this a hypotonic solution. Next, when we added lots of salt to the water, you can see that it's very close to the same size as the original. This is because we increased the solute concentration in the water. So, water did not feel like it had to move inside of the gummy bear because the solute concentration both inside and outside the gummy bear were relatively similar. In science, we call this an isotonic solution. When we added sugar to the water, it did expand, but not nearly as much as it did when there was no sugar. This had the similar effect as the salt water did. Maybe in this case there wasn't as much sugar outside in the water as there is inside of the gummy bear, so it expanded just a little, but it was still a relatively isotonic solution. So, with this, I hope you learned a lot more about osmosis and how it works in the world around us. Get curious and think of some other ways that osmosis might work in nature. Thank you for watching Cabbage Osmosis. We hope you learned a lot and enjoy the rest of your time at Science Fun.